Homes destroyed and memories lost in a series of fast-moving fires in Placer County. Some had just minutes to escape the Applegate fire.
I better pack up whatever I can get my hands on and get the hell out of here.
And they say they could hear the roar of this fire as it raced towards their home. Good evening, I'm Sam Shane.
And I'm Shannon Brady. As fire crews are battling 5 different fires burning along Interstate 80 at Applegate. One lane of eastbound 80 is now back open between Applegate and Weimar.
The latest numbers now, the fires have burned 380 acres at 10% contained. 80 structures are threatened and some mandatory evacuations are still in place. The cause could be arson. CBS 13's Ian Schwartz is live in Weimar with one family that lost nearly everything.
Sam, the air attack stopped once the sun set. So right now we have hand crews and engines in the brush trying to squash hot spots. Now this fire started not far from where I'm standing to my left. That's I-80. It's hard to see it in the dark. But for one family, it moved just too fast. Diedra Sample tries to make out what's left of her home that was swallowed by a fast-moving wildfire.
You're up here in God's country on top of a hill, you know. It's a shame. That was a nice old house. It had good bones.
That was her life 8 hours ago, right before her son ran in and told her smoke was headed their way.
It was, you know, the orange forest fire-looking smoke, and there was smoke coming up from this direction too. So we threw some things in the car and got our cars out and our dog.
They left their home knowing there was a good chance it wouldn't be there when they came back.
We saw fire on 2 sides of the house when we drove down the driveway to get out.
The Applegate fire started as 5 individual fires along I-80, which was shut down for unusual scenes like this. A helicopter landing on a major U.S. interstate to drop off fire crews. Each fire pushed east through the dry brush and trees.
There was smoke, flames in every direction, and then over in that direction over there, the tree went up in flames. You could hear the roaring of the fire.
Air units hit the blaze hard from above, while dozers crept through the forest, drawing fire lines to contain the spread. Although it wasn't a terribly windy day, crews say there was enough to toss hot embers up that eventually started new fires. Diedra says she isn't sure what her family's next move is, but they're happy they made it out with each other.
Your whole life is here. I have what I have now is in the back of my PT Cruiser, which won't start at the moment. It started when it had to, though. So, you know, we got the people and the animals out, and
a little noise in the background there. A little noise in the background there. That's actually a train finally making its way through. Rail service was shut down because of this fire. Now, CHP got a couple calls. Someone said they saw a guy throwing pieces of paper out of a moving vehicle, and they think that's what started the fire, at least the caller. I talked to CAL FIRE, and they say they're not actively looking for an arson suspect. They're not ruling anything out. These guys, fires investigators, they have to work backwards and say, well, it wasn't this, it wasn't this, it wasn't that. So it could have been a cigarette. It could have been a chain that sent sparks. Nothing is ruled out yet, but they did tell me they are not actively looking for someone who is throwing papers out of a window. CHP had mentioned that in their online report, and a lot of people around here are talking about that. Whether it's a rumor, well, that's yet to be determined.
All right, Ian, thank you very much. Live for us tonight in Weimar in Placer County. Now, this Applegate fire forced many homeowners to evacuate.
Some sought shelter at local evacuation centers. Bradley Duck lives in the Weimar area and is spending her night at the Sierra Vista Community Center in Colfax. She managed to grab just a few personal items and her 2 cats before she was forced to flee.
It's frightening, and you wonder what you forgot or what you could have done different, but it's going to be what it's going to be.
And it's not clear yet when she and the other neighbors from that area will be allowed to come back to their homes to find out whether or not they have indeed withstood the flames. Sam?
The fire shut down eastbound Interstate 80 for several hours this afternoon. Drivers heading up to the Sierra were forced to take a 40-mile detour around the fire. Several big rigs and other cars simply pulled over to the side of the road and chose to wait out the closure instead.
Pretty frustrating. I wouldn't want to go on the detour because it's probably like a parking lot.
Stay home, wait. Maybe we'll go back. I don't know.
One lane of eastbound I-80 has reopened, but drivers should expect traffic delays there. Speaking